Welcome to episode 2 of Builders and Beers. I'm Mark Blickenstaff, General Manager of Moore Lumber and Hardwood right here in Castle Rock, Colorado. Today I've got Dave Sullivan and Kelly Bigsby, the dynamic duo of the renovating world here in Castle Rock. They are the fantastic daughter and father team. Great customers of ours and all around just great people here in our community. So first off, cheers guys.
Cheers.
All right. Welcome, thank you for
Yeah,
coming.
thanks.
So Kelly,
Yeah.
retired nurse turned realtor turned flipper, interior designer, all the above.
Yeah.
Tell me more about you.
Well, I mean, so all that sounds super random, right? But the reality is I've grown up in the build world. My life was spent on job sites, building airplanes with 2x4s and watching homes get built every year. So it's kind of sort of in my blood, I guess.
It's an incredible childhood. I love it.
Yeah, it is actually.
Climbing
So
to the top of the roof.
climbing on roofs, meeting contractors. I mean, it's been part of my life forever. So it kind of was a great fit.
And climbing on roofs, I mean, you've got a long history of climbing on roofs. I mean,
I do.
retired firefighter,
Right.
turned contractor on the side, turned full-time contractor.
Yeah.
I mean, tell us more about that transition.
Well, career firefighter, 33 years with a large department in Florida. Moved out here after retirement 6-7 years ago. But firefighters in general, even all professionals, they kind of got a part-time gig, and mine was always construction. So from high school to now, it's always been construction.
That's awesome. I love it. And so you guys, you're so diverse. So I'm trying to narrow this down because it's a short segment. You flip houses,
Yeah.
and you spend quite a bit of time doing that.
Yeah.
And so, real estate market. Let's just briefly go over that. How is that impacting that side of your business right now?
Right now it's tough, right? So the market is at its highest currently. And so for people like us, we're small, right? We're small business, we're the little guys. It's really tough to find a good investment property right now. Previously, that wasn't the case. So, everybody who flips houses wants the home that no one else wants, or finding a home off market is really ideal. But it's really tough to find homes off market right now because there's no non-benefit to putting your house on the market regardless of your situation because the market's so crazy.
Right.
So from a flip standpoint, it's a little tough currently.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
But that goes with everything comes and goes.
Totally,
And comes
yeah.
and goes. Nothing stays the same. So it'll be back to
Yeah.
where it's, beneficial to do it.
right. So yeah, right now, I mean, the market is incredibly crazy. Kelly, yeah, we've been doing this for a little while.
Yeah.
Kelly just sold me a house. It's amazing. So right now, we're seeing more people flood the market looking to buy.
Yeah,
Not everything is turnkey, ready to move in.
totally.
So this is where the other side of your business comes into
Right.
play, right?
Right.
Just like, here we're at 105 today and they're doing a remodel to expand. We're looking at those types of ideas.
Yeah.
How do you as a realtor help your clients? And I know I've seen you work it because you did it with my wife. How do you work with them to see past what's there right now?
Yeah, that's really tough for a lot of people, right? I would say the majority of people have a hard time, like Joanna, seeing past what's in front of them. And that's my job, right? My job is to describe to them how it could be, to paint that picture, to make it in their minds how I see it in my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're taking care of all the design elements,
Yeah.
and then you just sketch it up and you walk over and say, hey, Dave, here we
Do
go.
this. Yeah.
That wall, it gotta go.
Somewhat, but a lot of times I'm in that meeting as well.
Totally. Yeah.
And Kelly does a really good job to interview the client, get a feel, then she'll come back with a whole bunch of, it's a virtual picture board. It's, it's on an iPad or a computer or something. And we found too, you can't give them too many choices.
Totally. Yeah.
So narrow it down to 3 things and go like, hate, okay, or love it, or something like that. And she'll just go through all these features. It may take a couple of more meetings because they hate everything, but that's how we narrow it down. And then yes, she goes, She's not really asking if it can be done.
Yeah.
It just needs to get done after
You
that.
figured this out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did my part. Now you do yours.
Don't worry, that will go away.
We
Right.
can figure anything out.
Totally. Yes.
Awesome. And I mean, some of them are simple, like, I mean, I hate to say it, but add shiplap,
Yeah.
Totally.
you know,
Yeah.
but some of them are a whole lot more intense where it's strip it down and we're going to start
Move the
over.
fireplace.
Yeah.
Right.
Or something.
Yeah. So everything gets to go away with it.
Yeah.
So let's stay on the design side for just a moment. So
Sure.
what are we seeing as terms of hot designs right now?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what people are over, right? People are totally over the white box with the black trim and that whole black and white theme that you see everywhere. And I'm probably going to offend somebody by saying that, right? But it's totally overdone. And so people are just kind of over it. People are looking for more warm tones now. You know, we went from the cream brown era to the white, black, gray era, and we're sort of slipping back into the creamy, grayish kind of warm feeling stuff right now, which is fascinating to me, right?
As long as we don't clear the golden oak, we'll be okay.
Totally, yes. I don't think we'll ever
I'm
go
waiting
back
for that
there.
to come back.
Oh, God, no.
He's still waiting. Yeah. I don't think that's gonna happen, but we are trending back more towards just warmness. And you know, we're in Colorado. People want to feel like their home is in Colorado. It's warm, it's mountain-like, it's inviting, that sort of thing. So I'd say that's the biggest thing from a maybe what is changing standpoint. But of course, everybody wants an open concept. They want to be able to see all the sight lines in the house. They want updated things, taller cabinets, you know, hardwood floors or floors that look like hardwood that aren't, which there's some great material out there right now, and things like that. So all the typical things I think that everybody wants. I think mostly open concept. My husband jokes that he wants a house with a closed concept because everybody says, I want an open concept, but it's true. Everybody does want that still.
And so we've designed it. We've kind of come up with the ideas. I mean, we're talking very open spaces still.
Yep.
You know, the modern farmhouse thing, it sounds
Yep.
like it's still pretty relevant.
It is. Yeah,
The black and white, not so much.
Yep.
But the rest of the elements are staying around.
totally.
So then we're going to flip it over to you. And you're going to walk into this shell.
Mhm.
Well, it's not a shell yet.
No,
He
it's
makes
pre.
it show.
Okay, so we're
Pre.
pre-con. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're,
yeah.
we haven't done anything to it yet.
Right.
So what do you start to look at when you walk into these spaces?
Well, I'm looking at bearing surfaces and things like that. And then I know a lot of times, design-wise, people will say, well, I want the bathroom this way instead of that way. Well, the reason it's this way is there's a reason. So it could be a bearing space, plumbing, or things like that. That's what I just look at. And then a lot of times, we have to convince customers of this as sometimes we don't know what some of this is going to run until we've exposed everything and got the demolition done. Then we can start building it back.
Right. And I've renovated a few houses in my life, and it's amazing what you find behind the wall.
It does.
You have no idea. You
No.
think everything's all peachy, and then you
It
open a
changes
wall,
everything.
and
Yeah.
everything goes. Yeah. So I started to get to the point where I would demo, and then we come up with a really good
Yes,
plan.
exactly.
Is that kind of how you operate as well?
Yeah, it can go that way.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. Especially the older the home we've experienced, typically something 20, 30, 40 years old has already been through a couple of remodels, and they weren't necessarily professionally done, maybe weekend warriored or something. And we'll expose things that we just can't continue
Yeah.
on. We'll have to make a repair before we keep going. It's either structural, electrical. We're really running into electrical problems,
Yeah.
things like that.
I think we always have a really good idea of what we want done, what the client wants done, if it's for a client or for ourselves. But the bottom line is I can paint a pretty picture, right? Which he always jokes. He's like, yeah, Kel, that's a really nice picture, but this is probably not going to work in this space kind of thing. And sometimes we don't know that until we get started.
So when you're in this design spot, so we talk about the interiors and how, we live in our homes, right? But exterior wise, we've got to focus there too. We see the modern farmhouses with the steep pitches and the gables, all that good stuff. But we're seeing a lot of modern come into it with
Yeah.
wood clad. things like that.
Flat roofs.
Right, and even just clear down to like the entry system.
Yeah.
Therma-Tru's kicking out some amazing doors lately. High efficiency, pretty darn good costs. Where do you
They're
spend?
easy to set too.
They are extremely easy to set. Where do you spend most of your time there? I mean, is it a full picture, or are we talking, okay, this is what you see most of the time, we're going to focus here, or is it truly a full scope?
Yeah, I'd say it's a full picture, especially for me. He's like, here's what I want on this house, get it in. And that's him, right? And he figures that out. But I think, especially from an exterior standpoint, you're talking about windows and doors and roofs and even just the material on the exterior. That's a full, wide, broad picture. Sometimes if the client or ourselves are set on maybe an entry door that they really want, that home actually gets designed around that door then. So it's either one way or the other, right? Because it could be a very unique style as well.
Right. I mean, it's all those things we take for granted, kind of. I mean, it's just a window. It's like, well, no, it's actually part of the entire design.
It really
it
is.
really
And then, and that you could change the whole look of the exterior of a home with a couple of things like that.
Yeah.
Doors and windows.
Yeah.
Accent siding,
Yeah.
things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed with, especially with like Therma-Tru, they're coming out with a lot more of the mid-century modern style doors, which we hadn't seen for quite a while. And they're starting to come back. And so we're seeing the 5 lights. We're seeing some of those funky old school doors. Now they're available out in the fiberglass world again, which is fantastic for efficiency reasons. Because
especially depending on exposure, what north, south, east, west, it really can affect a door.
Right. Fascinating. I love all of this. And it's good beer at 105, by the way. So, if somebody's taking on a remodel themselves, or they're having somebody do it for you, whether it be you guys and their contractor, we all have time in our lives, and we have to abide by certain times. Whether we're trying to get into the home, or we know how long we have to live without that bathroom. I mean, there's several elements. How do you guys gauge time on your projects?
Yeah, that's tough. We always have a timeline, whether it's our project or we're doing it for someone else. The idea is to have a timeline in mind, but that doesn't always happen, right? Especially in the environment we're in right now, it makes it a little tough. But we try to stick to a timeline, but I think that doesn't always stay, and we just have to be open and talking to our clients.
And I feel like communication amongst ourselves, if it's our job that we're flipping the home, we own it, time is a budget item, and we try to stay on budget for everything, money-wise and time-wise. And then if it's a customer we're working for, that time is also plays into their budget. And then sometimes things just don't work out as much, and I just feel like communication is key. Amongst ourselves or amongst the customer, just regular updates, regular meetings, regular updates that they feel like they're part of, and then that way when problems do arise, they're just not hit so hard.
So if our customers are having a remodel done and they're not getting that constant communication, kind of a red flag?
I would say so.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I don't. It's a relationship. I mean, you're going to be working. You're not living with them, but you're working with these people sometimes close to a year.
Yeah.
And it can be very far apart on all kind of things, but you guys have to get along.
Yeah.
You said a year, so average is about that year mark, or?
I mean, it depends on the scope of work, right? Okay. The current project we're doing is a year-long project. The one we did prior wasn't a year-long project. It really depends on scope of work.
Sure.
Totally.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we talked about time being a budget.
Yeah.
How do you budget? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not building a new house, but you almost are.
Yeah.
How do you budget for something like this?
Depends a little as well. I feel like I keep saying that, but for our projects, I have a very detailed Excel spreadsheet that we go through. On a flip, you make money when you buy, right? As in any investment. So really, we try to be as detailed as possible. And each item, there's literally line items for everything, what the cost is. In the current environment we're in, that's also tough because material prices are so all over the place. So it's really tough. Clients oftentimes want to know how much it's going to cost to do their project to the penny, right? And then they want it on a contract and they want to pay no more than that. And the bottom line is that's just nearly impossible. If somebody can tell you that, that's awesome, but they're probably going to lose a lot of money on their end. And we're not in the business, or they're bidding extremely high, right?
Some work sacrifices.
They're building in that
and
cushion.
then, but you know, so I feel like we try to be fair to everyone, to the customer and to us. And as long as we both always feel that way, I don't see any headbutting. You know, as long as we keep them up to date. So I actually provide monthly cost sheets to the customer, just to show, you know, what we did that month. Not only in what they can see, but this is how much it costs this month.
Right, because a lot of it you can't see. I mean, especially once you put sheetrock up, you have no idea. I mean, you know, engineered lumbers and things like that, they all have different cost structures. And so you cover it. Something we have to prepare customers for is demolition. There's a time involved with that. There's a cost involved with that. All that's being done before we start building it back up. So, you know, they have to be prepared for that.
It all goes back to communication from a budget standpoint. As long as you're in constant communication with them and there's no huge surprises and things like that, then everybody kind of stays happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So, I guess, what tips can you give someone that's either going to have a renovation done for them or is thinking they're going to do it themselves? I mean, I know what my first tip is don't. But it's not always an option. So
So we like for people to be involved. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And if they have some skill, we're open to it. But I would homeowners doing it. That's tough. I mean, if you're just painting or redoing a kitchen or bathroom, that's certainly in everyone's scope of skill nowadays. But a total renovation involving structural, electrical, plumbing, and stuff like that, you have to hire professionals for that. That's the reason we get building permits and such.
Yeah, I would say, you know, it's tough because everybody watches HGTV, everybody watches Joanna, and all the people on TV who do these things seemingly so easily and for a little bit amount of money. They're starting to show even what these projects cost on TV, and it's really not that realistic. And so everybody thinks not only maybe I can do it myself or be more involved, but it should cost this amount of money. And so I'd say just, you know, interview contractors. That's really important because, like Dad says, you have to have a relationship with those people. And pick somebody you have a relationship with that will treat you well and don't have preconceived notions about anything.
And we have a cache of subcontractors that we use over and over and over and over again. Someone coming in off the street, that's the first time they're going to talk to the electrician or plumber or HVAC or drywall, on and on and on. And, you know,
so there's a built-in value.
There is built-in value.
Relations.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that sub knows you. You know how they work. They know how you work.
Yeah.
They know what to expect from us, and we know what to expect from them.
Right. Fascinating. Well, okay. So the personal question. This is going to be fun.
Oh gosh, I thought you weren't going to ask me.
I know. I said I wouldn't, but I'm going to. How is it working with your dad or your daughter on a daily basis? We'll all walk out of here friends, I promise.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's the best thing in the world, man. It really is. It's, I'm lucky. It's an honor, and we can separate business and family too. We have a close family, so we can go right off of the job site and actually knock heads about something, but we can leave that job site and go straight to a family event, and that doesn't even come up.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is separate, you know.
It is.
It's awesome. I've seen you guys work both professionally and personally, and I gotta say, you're one of my. I strive to be like
everybody
you guys.
can pull it off.
Yeah, it's super fun. I mean, we've always talked about doing something together, and I've always wanted to do it. It's pretty awesome to actually, so I do some of the hands-on things, framing
works
and
pretty
things
hard.
as well. And it's really cool that I've gotten to know him, what he needs before he asks me, things like that. I think it's a really cool dynamic that we almost, on a job site when we're working, we don't really talk that much. We just work, like in communication. It's kind of strange.
That's awesome.
And it's really cool. So super blessed, and wish actually that we could do more for longer. Don't get any older. Okay?
Yeah.
Well,
There's
starting
the
to hurt
struggle.
now.
Yeah.
I know Castle Rock is fortunate to have you guys. I mean, you guys are beautifying Castle Rock one house at a time for sure. So we love what you do. More Lumber and Hardware loves the hell out of you guys. I mean,
We do.
greatly
Ditto,
appreciate
yeah.
you guys. So
Yeah.
I want to thank 105 for their beer because it was outstanding and amazing. Thank you, Sullivan Builders / Thrive Real Estate / Dave. I mean, we truly appreciate you guys coming in today and chatting with us. Reach out to us if you have any questions for these guys afterwards. We can always do that. So thank you for episode 2.
Yes,
And
that was
cheers.
great.
Thanks.
Cheers.
That was fun.
And
Yeah.
good night to my wife.
Super fun.